and to show you there is not a wrong way to do this. You literally cannot screw this up. But to give you some tips and tricks, to give you some ideas of how to be better, there are 3 handouts. Every single person should get those. Leah, they're on the back there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have just enough. So everybody gets one. One is a, oh shoot, I gave mine away. Bring me one when you're done too. Planning 101 apparently is what I need to take. There's one on how to do, what you should use AI at work to do. There is one on ethics of using AI, and I think that one's really important. And then there is one on do's and don'ts of using a GPT. So how many people have used some form of GPT, whether it be ChatGPT or Claude or Mistral or Bard that became known as Gemini, thank you. So most, some, that's good. Everybody, do you know GPT actually stands for something? No. It does. Look it up because I always forget. I don't want to get it wrong. I always get it wrong.
Generative pre-trained transformer.
That's what it is. A generative pre-trained transformer. It's a, you know, Optimus Prime, right? Generative pre-trained transformer. All of them are actually GPTs. So ChatGPT, interestingly enough, even though GPT's in its name, they're all GPTs. They're all generative pre-trained transformers. Specifically, you hear the term LLM. Does anyone know what LLM stands for? Large language model. Good. See, I knew that one. Large language model. It is a, I told you that we're a data science company and we do lots of machine learning models for organizations. LLM is a model that has been around for a long time. In fact, you've probably been using it. You just didn't know you were using it. The spam filter in Gmail has been a version of an LLM for a very long time. So yes, the generic all-inclusive models that you can log into like ChatGPT and Claude that we'll be using today, they are new to you guys, but in the business world, they've been programmer languages for a long time and machine learning models for a long time. So an LLM simply is a language model that it predicts the next word in the answer to your question. So everybody take out their phone. Okay, everybody go to the text button and start a new one, right? Doesn't matter who it's to, you're not gonna send it. See how there's 3 words at the bottom? Hit the middle one 10 times. This is an LLM. It's a cheap, stripped down version. It's not trained on the entirety of the internet, but it is predicting what, and it's trained on you. It's trained on what your language has been saying. So if you curse a lot, you'll realize that curse words actually show up in it. If you use a lot of medical jargon because you're a nurse or a doctor, a lot of medical stuff will show up in there. Your words will start showing up in the middle. Mine says the only way I could do that was if you wanted me to, I could come and pick it out, and then I can go pick it up from your place. Or you could just pick me up at my place. Apparently, I've been talking about getting picked up a lot, or picking someone up on my way to somewhere. Anybody have a really funny one?
Have a good night's sleep and sweet dream. I will see if you want me to sleep tonight. I'll see if you a good sleep. I'll see if I have any more pain pills for me.
Anybody else?
The only way I could do that was if you had to do a lot more work and then you would be done.
2 things to point out. Interesting how different the 3 of ours were, right?
Yeah.
We didn't, and if you put a person in there, it changes. It actually changes to the type of text that you've been sending that person. So if I did the same thing, and Luke and I have texted before, if I put Luke's name in there, it will actually lean towards some of the things that we've already talked about. Preston and I talk like every hour on the hour, I think, and it has a much larger language set, so it talks like I would talk to Preston. And it talks the way I talk. That interesting. It uses words and phrases, commas and periods, exclamation points and emojis like I use them. So I find that interesting. But understand that that's what an AI is actually doing, right? That's what the language model is doing. And notice the grammar's a little wonky. Notice that it isn't exactly complete sentences because it's only predicting the next word in the sentence, right? So it kind of gets to the end of a sentence and panics and just adds the word and. AIs do this too. Even though they're better at it, even though they are predicting longer strings of words, they actually aren't always the best at sentences. They aren't always the best at content because it's just predicting the next word. So one of the very first things you'll have, and hopefully, okay, you did get some handouts. One of the first things that you'll realize in here is in the do's and don'ts piece, it says, do fact check important information. There is a story out of Britain right now where there is a lady in a hospital. And the reason she's in the hospital is because she bought a book off of Amazon, and it was on mushrooms that you could eat and not eat, the poisonous ones and the edible ones in England. And it was written by an LLM. And nobody checked it. And it absolutely, in fact, some of the prompts are still listed in the paragraphs. Amazon sold the book. The book absolutely told the lady the wrong answer. She ate a poisonous mushroom and she almost died. Like LLMs, you really shouldn't be using for important things. Don't build an LLM for 911, okay? That's the wrong, it will give the wrong answer occasionally. It's fine if it's marketing, it's fine if it's sales, it's fine if you're just asking it who was in a movie in 1972, but how to give CPR is probably the wrong time to give you the wrong answer. It's never 100% accurate. I love to use it for initial drafts. I use it a lot for logging in and having it help me fill the page so that I can edit instead of create. I think it's really good at that. The other thing, and it's terrible at ethics, so be very careful. It will redline, not intentionally, it just does, right? And so you gotta be very careful about that. And then privacy. Privacy is a big deal. Remember, so if you're not signing into a ChatGPT or a Claude, your information, your PDF that you put in there, the information you give it to summarize or write an email on, it's going to ChatGPT. ChatGPT is getting that information. Now, it's a little better when you pay for a workbench, but it's still going somewhere. So be cognizant. If you have really, really important information, socials, birthdays, dollars spent, credit card numbers, can't drop that into a model. Even if it's a workbench, you have to do some very specific AI engineering where you've put it in a sandbox, the data comes in, data comes out. It's, cyber enforced. There's a lot of things that you do to make sure that it is not giving your information away. When I had this conversation with the state of Nebraska, they're coming out with an AI guardrail policy. One of the things that they pointed out with is if you guys work for the state and you dropped a document into ChatGPT, even the paid for version, that document, regardless of what's on it, including socials and birthdays and healthcare information, is now FOIA-able because you dropped it into a public app. Well, that's scary as hell, right? No one ever told anybody that. I can now FOIA a PDF document that lists every single person's healthcare doctor and their socials from the state. Sure can. So very scary stuff. Yes.
FOIA is the Freedom of Information Act.
Correct.
Request something.
Correct. So there are certain things that are not FOIA-able at the state. And if I keep them secured in their own database, I can't just FOIA the database, but I can FOIA any public document. So the legal has come down and said, the second you take that document and drop it into a public app, it becomes public, regardless of what's on the document. That's super scary. So be careful. Privacy is a big deal. Okay, so that's what this sheet was. By the way, we're going to use it to look at emails today. And I think it does a great job of helping you generate emails. But I want you to pay attention to this, because this is AI generated. The whole thing. I went to there are many places you can do this, including Claude, and we won't do this today. That's in a whole separate like 202 class. But I use one called presentations.ai. Presentations.ai is a great creator of presentations. It's in its namesake, so it better be. But it is really interesting because you have a prompt, and you can literally say, I need a presentation on an AI class, hour long, create some slides, right? Now I fed it a bullet list that I had thought about the topics, and so I gave it, and then I will teach you how to do this, but I refined my prompt. I said, well, these are for people who are somewhat technical, but probably haven't used AI before. These are individuals who are adults. These are individuals who likely have some sort of degree, and it gave me pictures. Now notice, none of this is actual, it looks like Russian. It is not, it's gibberish. So AI is not very good at creating text in pictures for whatever reason. Also gives you 6 fingers. Still haven't figured that one out. But if you'll see as these pictures keep going, that the pictures are cool and the fonts are cool and you can change all of this stuff. You can change all the pictures, but it does do a terrible job of putting real text in pictures. It's a way you can always see that. So there's some real interesting, if you look at the ethical considerations of using AI, and we'll go through these and then we'll actually jump into building an AI. But I wanted to give you some of this. There is some really interesting, so everybody is really panicked about AI taking over your job. You guys heard that?
Yeah.
Right? AI is going to take my job.
Yeah.
It won't. There's a phrase at the top of the ethical consideration sheet that I want you to read and I want you to put to heart. And it basically says, AI won't replace people. However, people with AI will replace people without AI. That is actually what's going to happen. People using AI will run a circle around you if you're not using AI. So we have to start using AI. We have to be good at this. We have to be at least decent at this. We have to at least know what it is. And here's the example. Many of you are at least as old as I am. I'm an old guy. Do you guys remember the card catalogs? You remember those? They were at a library. You pulled this interesting like rectangle. There was this big box and had a whole bunch of drawers, and they were about this wide. And you pulled them out, and they were really long, right? And in it was a card, like a little 3x4 index card, and it listed where in the library a book was. And it might have listed the summary of a book. And you took that card and you plucked it out of the card catalog, and then you went to the shelves and you're like, okay, BR 14.53, and you're looking, oh, it's this book right here, right? Yeah. And then, what?
It was hand typed too.
It was hand typed, right? Typewriters. And then you took the book and you took it to a table and you opened it up and you found the piece of information you needed, and then you went to the copy machine and you copied it, and then you put the book back. And then you took the 8 or 9 copy machine pieces of paper, and that's what you wrote your book report on, or that's what you wrote your report on Rome, or whatever it was, right? You remember when Google came out, or any of the spiders came out, and Google wasn't first, by the way. They were like 12th. Do you remember what you did instead? You asked it, instead of asking the card catalog the question to figure out what book gave you the answer, you just asked the question. And then it just gave you the article out of the book. It cut out the you pulling the card and going, okay. So you understand Google was version 2.0 of the card catalog. I will tell you that LLMs and AIs are version 3. Because now, instead of asking Google the question and it gives you 9 articles that you then have to read and digest, you ask it the question and it gives you the answer. It goes and finds the articles, reads them, summarizes them, and comes back to you with the answer. It is literally what we've always wanted out of the card catalog system. If you don't know how to do that, and you're still using the card catalog system, when I ask a question of you and you don't know the answer, and you've got to go find the book, and then find the pages in the book, and then summarize 12 different books to even come to the conclusion to go back to your boss to get the answer, the person who's using LLMs has already figured it out, already created a visualization, already talked to the boss, and probably is already halfway through solving the problem before you've even put the second book back. People using LLMs, people using AI are going to run a circle around people who aren't, and they're going to put you out of business. I would also put forth that businesses using AI are going to buy the businesses who aren't. So this is something you got to get over, right? This has to be our left hand. This has to be something that we're okay with. It has to be something that we use on a regular basis. There's a lot of stuff in here. I will touch on privacy one more time. It is terrible at that. It's terrible at feelings. It's terrible at, if you look at the don'ts in here, it is terrible at 100% accuracy. It's terrible at critical decisions. It's terrible at medical and legal advice, right? Don't use it for 911. It's terrible at expert human level understanding. And that's really an ethical thing, right? It doesn't understand feelings. It just gives data back that it reads. And by the way, it's giving data back from the internet. So we all know how great the internet is, right? And by the way, it's trained on all of the internet, not just the good stuff, all of the internet. So there's a lot of stuff in there that it is reading and thinking about and giving you the answer back to that maybe you don't want as an answer, right? This is also why it can get unethical answers. It's also why it can be super biased. It's just based on data on the internet. Are there racist and unethical people on the internet? Yeah. Have they produced a lot of content that every LLM has read? Sure. So it does this, right? Data has no ability to reason. Preston and I live in a whole industry filled with data science people who are 100% data focused, and we have to tone them down when they talk to businesses. Like, that's my job, is to stand in front of the data science team and be like, yes, but politics. Yes, but people. Like, you can't just fire somebody because they're not using the right data. You have to train them to use the right data. So there's a lot of ethical consideration before you implement this into your workplace. But if you go back to the using at work, there's a lot of things that you can do that don't necessarily mean or not mean that you shouldn't use AI. And some of the ones that I think are really easy are the writing assistants, right? The presentations, remember this is all AI generated. The presentations. I am a great editor. I'm not a great inventor. So use it to invent, use it to fill your page with things that you can read and be inspired. Use it for, I need more ideas. And we've used it for all kinds of things at Contemporary Analysis and the ODSA. We've used it for what's the latest, newest trends. I ask it that kind of stuff all the time. I have a problem employee that is doing this. What should I talk to them about? And how should I meet with them? And it gives really great suggestions. We're going to talk about emails. I have it write emails. I have it write stories. I have it write, you can even get it to write code, although it's okay. It's still better than nothing, right? It puts some code on the paper and you can edit that code. So it is interesting when I see people who are like, yes, I use it to write code. Well, if you really get down to coders, what's interesting about most coders, actual full-time coders, is they cut and paste a lot of code anyway. They're kind of doing this already. They're already going to web pages or apps that they know have this and busting the code out and copying chunks of it in the middle to bring in, and then they tape it all together. They see if it runs. Then they start editing that code to make it theirs. Coders kind of already do this. The AI generating code's kind of new, and it, like I said, it does okay. So meeting prep, I use it a lot of times for, hey, I haven't talked to this customer in 2.5 weeks, and I've had 37 meetings since. What did we talk about the last time we met? It's actually built into Teams now. That's really cool, right? It summarizes the last couple meetings. You can actually get these cool AIs that are listening into your Zoom calls, and they summarize the meeting after you're done, and they tell you what the to-dos were. So it's listening for keywords. Preston said he was going to do this. Pam said she was going to do this. Ryan said he was going to do this. And you can manage to that. How cool is that, right? Learning a new skill and development. AI as a tutor is awesome. So you have a new skill that you want to learn. You can ask AI, teach me how to use HubSpot. Teach me. Now you can go to YouTube and do this too. But AI essentially is, I had a really good example that someone gave me. They're like, they were a doctor, and they said, I do about 30 knee surgeries a week. Now they're all about the same. Different tendons, different problems with the tendons, but essentially it was fixing knees. And there was always the knee. They're basically a knee surgery. You see people who all they do is Tommy John surgery. Or you see all they do is rhinoplasty, right? And they do, after you've been in the business for 75 or 80 years, that's not true. When they're 75 or 80, they have a lot of experience. And what they're experiencing is not the, I cut open the knee, I mended this tendon, it's just like everything else. Okay, it's the 47 out of 5,000 knees where they open it up and something was weird. Something was different. Something was wrong. And they had, because they'd seen something wrong 4 or 5 times, they knew what to do. The average person who's never seen anything wrong, that doctor panics, or that doctor has to go and watch a video, right? The whole, I'm wearing Google glasses doing surgery and there's a video playing in the corner of a different surgery and I'm following yeah, that's real. An AI is trained on 1,000 doctors. It is 1,000 doctors worth of knowledge in one system, one doctor. So if a doctor had the knowledge of 1,000 doctors, if I am 80 and I've seen 47 problem knees, but 1,000 doctors have seen 4,700 problem knees, how much better am I as a doctor? I have 4,700 examples of a problem child that I now can reference. That's why AI is so smart. That's how AI is going to make you better. It's not that it's smarter than me or Preston or anybody in this room. It's that it's got all the smarts of all of us built into it. It is smarter than any one person, a person with that AI, with the ethical piece nailed down, with the emotional piece, with the political piece. That person who has that kind of experience to draw upon becomes a super doctor. You get to become the super leader of your business because you have this backpack of knowledge of not 47 knees, 4,700. That's the value of using this. Okay. There's a lot of things I could show you how to do with it, but I'm going to show you how to write an email with it because that's the easiest thing to understand. Understand that it's anything of written form. It's anything that that you want. So, but why would you do that? Why would you use it to write an email? I can write an email. It's just an email. Well, you can use it for drafting and editing. Remember, starting from scratch is hard. It improves your clarity and consciousness. I'll show you that in a second. It helps you brainstorm ideas for content. And you can tailor tone and style for different audiences, which I think is really cool and something I'm excited to show you. Okay, I think. All right. Whoever has a laptop, you can do this alongside of me. This is Claude. Claude is one of the big 2 or 3 that you can use. Some of you guys are proficient in ChatGPT. That one's a good one too. There's actually one called, I always get this wrong, Propensity. Perplexity.
Perplexity.
Perplexity. We won't do that one today. Perplexity is the amalgamation of all of them, but are really the top 4 or 5. And it's really great if you're actually going to start saving and manufacturing prompts to sell, right? If you're going to build a prompt as an app, I advise you to use that one. If
research too, Perplexity.
Yes.
Because it cites the sources.
It's great. We are going to use a super generic Claude. This is the paid version. I think I pay $5 a month for it. So it's not inexpensive. 5. Cuatro. Cinco. Spanish. So I gave it a really terrible email. I wanted to touch base about the meeting we talked about last week. I think we should probably do it soon, maybe next week or something. There's a bunch of things we need to go over, like project timeline and budget and all that. Also, I'm not sure who else should be there. Maybe we can figure that out. Oh, and I forgot to mention, there's probably some changes to the client requirements, but I'm not totally sure about the details yet. We can talk about it when we meet, I guess. Let me know what you think, and if you're free, and if not, we can do it later, or whatever. Thanks, me. How many of us have gotten this email? How many of us have sent this email? Right? I want you to see, so I dropped that in there, by the way. I just cut and pasted my email, I dropped it in there. See this? That is literally the prompt. I don't know anything about prompts, so I just said, fix my email. Now, how easy is that? Is that scary? Do you have to know anything about prompts to say, fix my email? I gave it the email, and I said, fix my email. That's all I gave it, by the way. This is what it gave me over here. Read that. I hope this email finds you well. I'm ready to follow up on our conversation last week regarding important meetings that need schedule. Given pressing matters we need to discuss, I propose we meet next week. Yes.
You might have already said this, I don't know, but for with Claude, is there like different, so for email stuff, like I use ChatGPT and I use a custom GPT that kind of follow the principles of the marketing book. So kind of is able to kind of use words in a much more professional or different kind of tonalities, better than the original GPT. Is there like for Claude specifically, is there like different custom ones that we can make, or is it just one straight like just one?
Great question. You're about 5 minutes ahead of me.
Okay.
This is super generic. I've not told it to use any book as a reference. I've not told it to do anything. This is Claude, the $5 a month version, and this is what it gave me. That email, I would read and like better. I'm a CEO, obviously. If I'm a CEO and get that email, don't cut and paste, because then I would get an email that says, dear recipient's name. So you do have to fix these things. You cannot cut and paste them, right? Insert the CEO's name. Insert your name, because my name's not John. So here's what the prompt actually gave me here. It gave me some help as to how to write a better email. So here's what I love about Claude. ChatGPT does this to an extent, but Claude is better at it. It tells you the improvements it made to the email, but it also helps you understand how to make a better email. So eventually I'll teach you how to save this as a prompt so that you can use it time and time and again, which is why you pay for these things, by the way. If you don't pay for them, it forgets everything when you X out of it. If you pay for these things, it remembers. So I pay $5 for this. I'm actually showing you the thing that Preston and I built a couple weeks ago, the chain, okay? So here's what it did. I didn't the next open box, I just said, rewrite my email like a business analyst. So I didn't give it another email. I didn't tell it anything other than who I was. Hey, listen, can you rewrite this email like I'm a business analyst? I would really appreciate that. By the way, be nice to your overlords.
That's a real thing.
It is a real thing.
It really is. It picks up your tone.
What happens if you're mean to it?
We can go there. If you can't get it to do something, be mean to it. Sometimes it'll give you it, but it will not treat you nice. The tone will change.
Yeah.
True.
It's up your toes.
So remember, all I did was rewrite my email like I'm a business analyst. Now I have a subject, by the way, that I can cut and paste. Look at this email. Following our preliminary discussion last week, I've identified several critical areas. It gives me bullet points now. So my first prompt was make this email better. Rewrite this like I'm a business analyst. So the very first prompt, I didn't know anything. I just went, hey, make this email better, and it did. Then I told it who I was, right? A business analyst. Rewrite this like I'm a college professor. Rewrite this like I'm if it's going to students, rewrite this like I'm a teacher. Who's this email for? Let's go to that. Imagine I'm teaching a class on AI tomorrow to a group of librarians. What should I teach them? That email looks like this. Holy cow, it's lesson plans. Rewrite the email of what I should teach them tomorrow. Lesson plan designed to give librarians comprehensive instruction to AI and its application to their field. Here's a structure would be effective. Tells you what to talk about. Gives you really nice hands-on activities. You can actually go in, because it remembers what you're talking about. Your next prompt could be, can you give me a demonstration of AI tools relevant to libraries? So you can ask it. You can actually ask it to just expand on A, which is really crazy, right? Expand on A, enter, and it will give you A. And it remembers the original, so you cut and paste it into the document. So we haven't done anything really special here. All we've done is just ask it to do things. And I'm not very professional in how I asked it either. Make my email better? Write this like I'm a business analyst? Like, there's nothing special to this. And it's giving me amazing. So I just wrote, how do I write better emails in general? Right? Help me write better emails. And it gave me a guide to writing better emails. Look at this. Craft clear subject lines. Start with proper greetings. State your purpose quickly. Keep it concise. Use professional tone. Structure your content. Proofread. Proofread again. Use a professional signature. By the way, total side note, has nothing to do with AI. If your signature doesn't have your phone number in it, I'm going to throw something at you. You are sitting here. I need to be able to get hold of you. If you email me and I don't want to email you back, like the thing is either personal or it's just easier to discuss it instead of not email. I was like, do you know the number of people I've gotten who don't have their phone number in their signature? So I can't contact you. Now I get it. Some people are like, I don't want to be contacted. Oh, you do too. That's why you sent me an email. That's why we're conversing. Put your freaking phone number in your email signature. Okay. Because it remembers everything that I told it already. Now, if you X out of this, it won't, right? Unless you save it. I just had to write, hey, rewrite my original email. Still didn't have to put the email in there. It remembers it. Rewrite my original email, but use the tone of the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. And the last emails were a little long, so be concise. So now I'm just telling it suggestions on how to get my email better, right? Look at this. By the way, all I'm doing over here on the right side is I'm double clicking on the CEO. But I'm doing it so that I can teach to I know what it's going to give me, so I can teach to it. Okay? Here's the thing about CEO emails. And I get away with this a lot. Drives Preston crazy. I write, hey, Martha says she needs 2 rooms next week. Thoughts? ? Send. Like I have no expansion in my thoughts ? Send is like the end of most of my emails. Look how short this thing is now. Team, we need to convene next week for urgent project review. Thoughts ? Send, right? Timeline assessment, budget. Executive assistant's name, hey, Sharon, or Greg, look at me be sexist. Greg, schedule this meeting for next week. Assume all key stakeholders are present. My name, CEO, company name. Remember that terrible email I sent? Isn't this cool? I'm literally just telling it who I want to send it to. So I originally told it, send it like I'm a business analyst. Now I'm telling it who I wanted to send it to. Great. But I'm sending this email to my exec team made up of close friends, so please make it more casual and less formal. Casual team executive email. It's not just thoughts, send. Now it's, hey guys, hope you're doing great. We need to huddle up next week for a quick powwow. Powwow, isn't that funny? Now it uses the word powwow. Project X, obviously got to change that. On the agenda, there it is. I'm thinking about grabbing a happy hour. Since its name, Greg, can you work your magic? Find time works for everyone. Knock this out of the park. Cheers, me. P.S. Drinks after. That was the same email. That's the same. See the tonal difference? How all I did was talk to it. All I'm doing is typing in all I'm doing is typing in what I want it to do. There's no formality to it. Say yes and please and all that stuff, but I'm just referencing that same email. I haven't put any new email in it. Still that same email. You don't even have to have the formal email. It literally can just be write an email that includes these 4 bullet points. Write an email that schedules something for next Tuesday and includes these 6 people. Write an email that asks for, I'm writing an email for lead generation purposes. Please generate this email as a small company to a big company. The emails to the CEO. It needs to include these 4 bullet points. And then it'll give you email. And then that email's a little long. Can you make it shorter? Talk to it like you're a person. Talk to it like you would a person doing this for you. Because that's what it is. For all intents and purposes. It's a mid-high school level thing that has the knowledge of a mid-high school level secretary. Talk to it like that. Hey, this needs to go to a CEO. This is way too This is way too informal. Oh, sorry, Mr. Watson. Formal. Hey, that's way too formal. It's going to my friends. Can you use real words? And it'll use, words that my 10-year-old uses. It does this just by conversing with it. And that's all you have to do. These prompts over here on the left are pretty simple. So see how there's an emoji in this email? See how there's, it added content like the word powwow. So I said, hey, don't use emojis. Don't take any liberties with adding content, because it did. Just modify the content I originally gave you. The project's name is Apple TV Contract. So remember, it's a casual executive team email, but I gave it some constraints. So now I'm telling it, don't add content like powwow. And for God's sakes, don't use emojis, right? So here's my new email. Hey team, want to touch base? Last week, by the way, I told it what the project's name was. So remember it said Project X. Now it says Apple TV Contract, because I told it what the contractor's name was. Think we should probably do it soon, maybe next week. It looks very similar, right? But now it doesn't say, P.S., let's go get drinks and have an emoji, and it's all cutesy and whatever. Now it's a professional email from a CEO to my executive team who are my friends, so it doesn't need to be formal, but it's not taking liberties of adding the word powwow. And all I did was say, hey, listen, don't do that. Just, keep it simple, stupid. Okay. Here is what I want you guys to do when you do this. your prompt is now 7 or 8 prompts deep, right? If I shut this off and I reboot it, I have to do this whole thing again. So, and here's why we love Claude. This is the prompt. This is what I originally wanted. I want you to make a prompt I can use in the future to get this kind of change to my email in one try. Without all the back and forth we just had. Give me a prompt that you would have wanted to see in the first question containing the email that I can use in the future, write it in a way that you'd want it to be written, not for my convenience, but for the model to use. I basically just told it, this is what I want you to do every time. Write the prompt that gives me this email from that email every single time. And it does. How cool is this? It says, certainly. Here's the prompt that would help achieve the desired results in one go. This is the prompt that if I'd have done this at first, if I'd have dropped my email in and had written this prompt that I didn't know I needed to write, this prompt would have given me the final email that I got out of the system. Now, I can save it. I can save this prompt. You hit one of these little buttons.
The prompt is in the text file, actually. It's not that bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right there. There you go.
There it is. So,
You can hit the download button on the bottom there.
you're right here. So if you're in regular old ChatGPT for free, you can do this. It only kind of works. But what you do is you copy the prompt into a text file, and then you save the text file on your desktop. So if you don't want to pay the $5, you can still do this. You then open up ChatGPT or Claude or whoever. You go to your text file, double click it, cut and paste it, drop it in, drop your email, hit enter, and it gives you the same results. It gives you the email that you wanted to from the very beginning. This is the piece that no one does. Okay? If you've gone to all this trouble to figure out your prompt, save this stupid thing. Okay? Make it generate a prompt that gives you the desired outcome. Hey, we've done all this prompt. Remember, do this before you X out of it, by the way. You have to do it that way. We've done all this work. What did I say? I can send this to you, by the way. Make a prompt that can you give, actually, it's this piece right here. Can you give me a prompt that you would have wanted to see in the first question that I can use in the future, write it in a way that you'd want it to be written, not for my conveniences, but for the model to use? That is the key thing I want you to take away other than the ethics thing. Save your prompts. So there it is. If you look at, so there's my recents. Here's my projects. Yeah, recent activity. All the, how do I go back? Here we go. Here's my recents. So I brought up this recent project, the masterclass in Claude. So it's saving all of these normally, which is why you want to spend the $5, to be honest. This is, now, you can use it for all kinds of stuff. Here, and I'll show you this. Claude does a great job of this, by the way. And I know it's just marketing. But this is just, before you even log in, it says, here's all these cool sample prompts. Claude, analyze this CSV of user engagement data and show me the key trends. Generates a graph. Analyze, well, hang on. Stop it. Visualize my cost by breaking down this month's expense report. Graph. Design a retro 8-bit pixel art crab for my game. Picture. Build a fun side-scrolling game in HTML5. Game. Convert this design into a React component using Tailwind CSS. Visualize my code base. The email is just the start. And all of this stuff can be, Claude is just the name on the hammer, right? Brian and I were talking about this. We use Claude because we like Claude. ChatGPT is fine. Mistral is fine. Doesn't matter, right? Don't fall in love with the name on your hammer. You're just in it for the hammer. You don't care. I love that Claude does this though, because it always inspires me. I always forget all the cool stuff I can do with it. I'm always the one who inhibits myself, right? If you go on to, is it OpenAI's, what do you call it, the marketplace?
GPT marketplace.
Oh yeah.
The GPT marketplace, what you will find is prompts, lots and lots of prompts. And those prompts are, I meant to bring this up so I wasn't doing this live. Apologize. There is a ChatGPT store. You know what it's filled with? Prompts. Prompts like the one we created. Prompts that people have created that do a million different things, but they've done essentially what we just did. They put a bad email in, they went through and created the prompt so that it generates an email at the bottom. They then created a prompt that does that every single time without all of the back and forth. That prompt you can buy and use. So there are prompts for all kinds of stuff. There's prompts for tutors. There's prompts for resumes. There's prompts for data analysis. Here's similar things to what we just did. There's one to humanize your AI. There's one to write it for me, write a tailored, engaging content with focus on quality and relevance. The CV writer is the one I see a lot of people using these days. So you take your CV, resume. We don't use CV in this country. What's CV stand for?
Vitae.
Who cares? It's Latin.
Yeah.
Gross. Just kidding. Take your resume.
Such a jock.
I know, right? Take your resume. You open up this prompt. Does this one cost anything? Let's see. Oh, some of them do. Some of them very much do. Whole businesses are in here, which, be very careful. There is a ton of stories of people that have built whole companies around prompts, and it costs you $5 to use their prompt or whatever. We're actually we put a bid out right now to replace there's an AI that's out there, and it's for a legal company, and you feed it PDFs, and then it kicks out summaries of those PDFs and makes them searchable. And it's, I forget what it was, $1, $2 to use it every PDF to scan?
I don't know.
I don't know, $1 a piece, which doesn't sound like many until you realize this company gets 1,700, 1,800 PDFs every week. Every week. Boy, does that up fast, right? What is this $10,000 bill from this company? Holy crap, right? There's a lot of companies that are building AI prompts as their business. And there's also a lot of companies that have woken up to find that ChatGPT 3.0 or 3.5 or 6.7 or whatever the next version is going to be does it for free. Ah, crap, right? We just spent all this time and all this energy, and my entire structure for making dollars disappears overnight. Sorry, I'm having trouble snapping. There we go. Oh, darn, right? But there are some really cool prompts out there. This one's awesome. It is, so it says, an expert in crafting personalized, professional, and humanized resumes optimized for applicant tracking systems. Upload yours as a Word document or in plain text to get started. If you open this up, it is a prompt. You won't see the prompt. The prompt's in the background, but you drop your resume in it and it kicks out an applicant tracking system designed resume. And then you can add to it. You can be like, add my last job, which is this, and you describe it, and it plunks it on the resume, kicks out the Word document. You download it as a Word document, save it as a PDF, enter it in an applicant tracking system. What was going to take you 2 or 3 hours is done in 15 seconds. How cool is that? Right? I don't know if it's any good or not. It's for free. Get what you pay for. By the way, you guys know the saying, if it's free, the price of the software was you. If the price of the software is free, the price of the software was your data. They're giving it away so that they can have your data to make their thing better. You gave them your data. A la Facebook, a la LinkedIn, a la any of these giant softwares that we all use that we think are free, and yet they're somehow multi-billion-dollar companies. They're selling your data. The price of the software is free. The price of the software was you. This is free. Take it for what it's worth. Yeah.
So I have a question on this ChatGPT store with like that CSV writer.
You got it. What's up?
So all that is, it's just like a little prompt that they insert before your question.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Well,
It's a prompt that they just, like we just built the email generator prompt, right?
Right.
It's that.
That's it.
That's all it is.
Basically, so it's slightly different. There's like a templating kind of language that you stick your prompt in, and you get some additional stuff you can do, but there's no code. It's all.
That's not like referencing additional data that the.
It might be.
wouldn't
It might have to
Only
be.
if it can fit inside the prompt. Yeah.
no,
Wow.
that's not exactly true. You can upload knowledge in the form of files in your custom.
So you asked a very interesting question early in this, and I kind of forgot to get to it. You can say, write an email like this book. Write me a cost summary like this book, and then you can drop the book in there, or the chapter of the book, or sometimes it just knows the book, right? Yeah.
Or you could just make your own custom GPT and then drop the whole book in the back end knowledge.
Yes.
And then you could just use
Reference the book.
Yeah.
So contemporary analysis uses a book called Scaling Up. Scaling Up has a very, not unique, but a very, well, it's unique to the book, accounting way, right? They have essentially, revenue is a vanity metric. They're looking at profit. They look at profit that is generated by you. So if you're a general contractor like we are half the time, we don't count any of the revenue. Like if I had a bunch of stock, so we only count revenue. Like your revenue number is trying to nominalize revenue so you can compare it to every other company. So I can write a prompt to, here's my accounting and my profit and loss statements, PDF. Please generate a document that figures out my profit and loss based on the accounting system from Scaling Up. Drop in Scaling Up, enter, and it does it. Once you know it works, you create the prompt that does that, and that's what that is.
So would the entire text of Scaling Up be part of that prompt?
Maybe. I mean, depends on what you need it for, but yeah. Now, you won't see the prompt. The prompt I created is written in a way such that you don't see it. So you can't just open this up and then steal my prompt. The text box is the text box is empty. The prompt is behind the scenes. There's actually, even in ChatGPT, there's a lot of prompt engineering that's going on behind the scenes. You just don't see it. It's prompting to not give out nuclear secrets, and it's prompting to not create chloroform, and it's prompting to not curse, and there's a lot of prompts that it's doing in the background that you don't see. So this is the same way. It's doing prompt engineering that you created and sell that people are downloading. It opens up your prompt. You can't see it. And then when you drop in my resume, that prompt that someone, they didn't do it in 5 minutes or an hour that we did here. They probably spent weeks building it. But that prompt, which is probably 100 prompt engineer deep that they created, is that. So when you're getting it, you're getting mine was 5. Nobody's going to pay for that. I give it away for free, but you would pay for one that I spent weeks building that generates this amazing applicant tracking system based resume.
The AI should face a human who then delivers the message or checks the data or ensures that the experience is good, or it doesn't necessarily take a high. All decisions don't take a high knowledge individual or something like that, but someone should be looking over it and care.
Automated recommendations, not automated decisions, is the way we put it. But I like human in the loop. That's cool.
So like the most extreme version of that is maybe like the detection for like military equipment. Right?
Yeah.
Keeping a human in the loop is extremely ethically important, I would argue. Because if you're afraid of like Terminator types of
Probably need it.
basically like,
Do I put human in the loop in here? That might be something I need to add to this.
We've talked about it. Yeah, I don't think it made it in there.
Human oversight and control. Haha, number 6. Maintain meaningful human control over AI systems. Especially for critical decisions, establish protocols for when and how to override AI decisions. The override button is extremely important. Launch all nuclear weapons. Easy. Calm down there, Skynet. Ensure the AI components rather than replaces human judgment and complex complements. Ensure the AI complements rather than replaces human judgment in complex scenarios. Yeah.
Okay, I have a question. I would call it like how to jailbreak Chat GPT. But like specifically, I'll ask it to make like an image or something like, oh, Chris, this is like so inappropriate. I can never do that. But
Okay.
there's this sticker whiz.
What are you asking it to make?
There was one on like the 4th of July. It's like, oh, Statue of Liberty, like with a, I don't know, like doing something crazy. Anyway, like if I asked the regular Chat GPT to do it, it'd be like, no way. But if I ran it through the sticker whiz, it would do it right away. Or like make a celebrity. It's like, oh, I can't make a celebrity, but it's like if you ask this other one, it'll give it to you right away, but it's in like sticker form. So I know that it's like telling it some prompt where it can like get by its guidelines. How do I figure out how to do that?
Isn't that called red?
Decline to comment.
Red? What's that called? Red testing? No.
Red teaming.
Red teaming. There's a whole group of people that are hired by ChatGPT to not get you to do that,
We don't
and it's
know
called
yet.
red teaming.
how you find out about it is
How do you learn how to do that? I can't tell you how to get around ChatGPT. I don't know. The built-in prompts are going to keep you from doing it. So
there's a thing called
How could I
GPT
figure out how to do that? Like,
There's a thing called GPT for all that
Yeah.
you can run on your desktop and then download models that don't have like particular boundaries.
I will tell you, you're using a generic model. Go use a picture model. A model that's specifically, DALL-E is specifically designed to create pictures, or one that's specifically created to do videos.
right.
You might have better success with that. The problem is probably the genericity. Is that a word? Genericness? The fact that it's a generic model. I love Preston's look he just gave me. I try to invent words all the time.
Generality.
I don't like that one.
Ambiguity.
The ambiguity. The generalness.
I would say, so besides emails, what's something else that, when we have a nonprofit in the room, we have other small businesses in the room, very beginner, what is another like great starter thing to have AI do for you?
Yeah, so did you get one of the, yes. There's the things to do using AI at work. Anything that has to do with written or something you're going to do, a prompt. So a sales prompt, a phone call prompt, prompts for, I'm going to have a meeting with my sales team they did great this quarter. What things do I talk to them about? They did terrible this quarter. How do I encourage them without causing great distress? It will give you ideas on all of that stuff. It's really, really good at helping you manage time and people. It's really good at helping you. And like I said, presentations.ai is the one that I use for this, the presentation I had. If you just, you know how we used to sit around and just debate on who was in a movie in 1976 with Tom Cruise and we can't remember the movie's name, and in the end we can't figure it out, and so we just drink. But now we have IMDb in our pocket, and so like 5 minutes after, they're like, why are we debating this? The answer to this is in my pocket. Hold on a second. We pull out our phone and ask it a question, right? It's so weird how all of us that are pre-internet forget. It's not the first thing you do, it's the second thing we do, right? We'll debate about it for 10 minutes and be like, the answer's in IMDb. Okay, hang on a second, let me go get the answer. If we'll just remember that we have AI in our pocket, just remember, it's in your pocket. Ask it stuff. Ask it any question that you would Google. Ask it any question you would ask your secretary. Ask it any question that you would ask your mentor. And remember that companion is there to help. I think you're ahead of everybody else. Just remember to ask it things that you're not sure about, and remember to ask it for help. And you're well on your way. And then pay for it. Pay $5, pay $20, but pay for it so that you have it, so that your crazy questions and prompts that it creates are served back to you. Because if you just use ChatGPT, if you just log into it and you just use it, it's great, but the second you X, it doesn't remember anything. Okay? So it's worth $5 once you start using it on a regular basis and you ask it serious questions for business. How do I talk to my sales team because they missed their quota? You won't have to ask it again. Like you want that answer a second time. It's saved in your recent activity. It's saved in your prompts. Create prompts, right? So pay the $5, pay the $20 for
Perplexity.
That one, Perplexity. I think I start with Pro and then I just
constantly perplexes you.
It's terrible. Anyway, yeah, one more.
I don't know. It's kind of a thought, but do you feel like the movement to GPT is related to critically think? It sounds like now every time there's a problem, you just Google it, or you're like, oh, give me a prompt on how to solve this problem. And so, like, there's a lot of things in there that are like genuine, like they're maybe directionally correct, but they might be like functionally not the most accurate or even wrong sometimes. I don't know, thoughts on that?
Short answer is the parts of your brain that you don't exercise don't get exercised. So yes.
But the problem has come from a lot longer than GPTs. The line is 45, a 45-year-old that is over 45. When I got hired for my first job, I got hired because I had knowledge. And I got promoted from wisdom. You remember when YGen first entered the market, how the boomers and the X were all beside themselves, that they were bouncing between jobs and they didn't know anything and they expected all this stuff. Do you know why? You know why that happened? Because YGen was brought up on the internet. The answer to everything that's ever been asked in all of humanity has always been in their pocket. So they don't value knowledge at all. They value problem solving. They value finding the answer. Knowing the answer has no value to them. So if I'm a boss and I got hired and promoted based on what I knew, and a person that got hired below me values not what I know, but how I find out what I know more, they run a circle around me. Why would I work for you? I know everything you know, and I can figure out the next level in 2 weeks. I just ask Google. So the whole world has been changing for a long time. I don't disagree with you that we are losing some ability to critically think, but we started down this path clear back when YGen first entered the workforce. When the value in a job, the currency is the correct word, where the currency for employment is stopped becoming knowledge and started becoming problem solving. That's when it changed. And yet this is just the speed of which you problem solve. So the ability to critically think and to know when the answer it spits out is directionally right but not actually right is actually the most valuable thing that you could do. That is the key to actually being successful moving forward, is understanding the directionality but the not correct answer, being able to figure out what the actual correct answer by having the directional knowledge of sending you down the right path and you getting to the answer quicker. Speed, right? The only thing that technology has ever done, ever, is speed. It's not actually done anything else. It just has taken the human thing that we were already doing and automated it and sped it up in the process. That's really all tech does. So finding the answer and knowing what the answer is hasn't actually changed. The wisdom piece still exists. It's just shrouded in AI now. But the discernment is still what you actually get promoted on. Now it's figuring out the solution, and discernment is what gets you promoted. But great observation. All right. Appreciate it, guys.
This is for you. Thank
Hey!
We have lots of events like this at Elevator. We have 2 monthly, and then we also have the e-commerce and friends, which is quarterly, coming up October 24th. We have one that a member is hosting tomorrow, 11:30 to 1. It's about solving problems without using time on food. So if you're interested in that, come back for a sandwich tomorrow. Thank you again, Nate. Thank you, AltCap, for sponsoring. If you have any questions about AltCap or Elevator, Josh and I will figure out. We fed you, so we would love some feedback. So there's some QR codes on the end of your desks, and right here is this one. So if you can take a second, give us information. We really want to provide you the best events. And please sign up so then we know how many sandwiches you need, okay? So thank you again for coming, and stick around if you have any questions for us, all right? Thanks, Nate.
Thank you.